Welcome to the Diva Details. Welcome to the Diva Details, where bold, confident women embrace life unapologetically. From love and sex to wellness and reinvention, we keep it raw, real, and powerful. No filters, no limits. Just fearless conversations to help you thrive. Let's dive in with Diva Mia.
Well, hello, this is Diva Mia, and today I wanted to talk a little bit more about physical connection and how that relates to connecting with a person more deeply. And one of the things that struck me the other day when I was doing some research was that women in our pretty much above the age of 45 to about 60, we have a decreased desire in sexual desire. Now, it was like 91% of women aged 45 to 59 have reported a marked decrease in sexual desire. Now, this is a problem. I thought that, as we went through menopause, a lot of people increased their sexual desire, but a lot of people have been decreasing their sexual desire. And with that same study, 66% reported the reduced ability to orgasm during partnered sex. Now, here's the thing. Connection and feeling safe has a huge impact on sexual desire for women. A lot of men think that it's more of a transactional or a physical act to have sex with a woman, but connection is one of the most important things before you get intimate with a man sexually. I'm going to talk a little bit about connection today and why connection is so important and physical touch, and how to go about a day with connecting with your partner in a way so that you will be more satisfied sexually when you get to that point. But connection is so dramatically important. I can't stress it enough. Nearly half of midlife women say that their sexual well-being is poor. If you're having a bad sexual well-being, sexual health is just as important as physical health. It needs to be addressed. Now, there is a thing called a no shot, which will help with libido. I've talked about that on another podcast. If you're having issues because of menopause, that's one thing. But I think a lot of the sexual well-being and the poor sexual health is because people just don't feel connected with their partners. It may be that you've had this partner for 20 years and now you're going through kind of a crisis with them, or you're just not as connected because it's been a long time, you got comfortable, and just maybe the spark's not there. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to reignite that connection. Or if you're with a partner and you're just not feeling desired, maybe you've only been with them for 6 months and the desire's not there, or you don't have any desire to reconnect with a man because you just don't feel sexual towards men. We're going to talk about that as well. All right, so let's get started. Let's dive right in. So let's talk a little bit about physical touch. I'm a very touchy person. With a person that I date, I like to hold hands with them. I like to put my hands around them. I like to give them hugs. I like to kiss them. I really like kissing. Kissing to me shouldn't be an obligation, but it should be pleasurable. If you're with a person you don't like to kiss, this is a part of connection that is going to be a problem. You may be able to work your way around it. You may be able to work with them to get them to improve on their kissing, but kissing is so dramatically important, and it does connect you sexually, and it creates a level of connection and intimacy that kissing is going to take you to the next level. Physical touch as well. There's no pressure to touch, but there should be a desire to touch each other. Now, I know some people just don't want to be handsy and don't want to be fondled. I get that. I was in a relationship where I had a person that would just grope me in front of my children, and it was terrible. I want physical touch, but not in a handsy way. Groping is fine, but more in private than in public. It is kind of nice to be touched and held and give hugs and hold hands. Kissing is a huge part of it as well. Kissing is a level of respect too. It shouldn't be forced. It is the foundation that holds all your intimacy together, though, touching and kissing. It should never feel forced, and it should never feel uncomfortable. If this part of your relationship is broken, you're not going to be able to move past it. You're not going to feel sexual well-being or health, and you're not going to have great intimacy with this person. So physical touch and kissing are very important. Now, some people aren't into kissing a lot, but they're into a lot of physical touch. You have to have some type of physicality with your partner in order to keep your sexual well-being alive, okay? And to keep your connection alive and to keep your sexual health alive. Because intimacy doesn't die suddenly. It dies over time. It fades when people stop feeling seen, safe, and emotionally held. Now, here's the truth. If you are disrespected by your partner, you will not want to be physical with them. But there's a lot of disrespect in this relationship on either side, especially for women, though. If we feel disrespected, our libido shuts down. So if you're with a woman and you're wondering why she's not sexually into you anymore, it might be that she just doesn't feel touched, kissed, or respected. If you're disrespecting her on a daily basis, squashes women's libidos. It's sad that 91% of women are not driven more sexually. They have a decreased sexual desire. I think it's a lot to do with a lot of disrespect. Some women, after a while, they just check out altogether. There's been a lot talking about the loneliest epidemic of men, but the loneliest epidemic of men, I think some of it comes from the disrespect of women. If you can't respect a woman and treat her like a treasure and treat her well, she's not going to feel respected, and then she's not going to want to intimately be with you. It's just the way it is. There was a study out of Monash University that nearly 50% of midlife women surveyed reported poor sexual health. Women in early perimenopause had twice the risk of desire and arousal dysfunction compared to premenopausal women. That's just the way it is. The truth is that women, before they even go through menopause, are losing their sexual desire. That's sad because, honestly, even after menopause, sexual desire, for me at least, has gone up through the roof. For some women, it goes up, and for some women, it just goes away. I've known a lot of women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s that don't want to have anything to do with men. I honestly feel like I'm in the best sexual health of my life. You get to choose, but you got to have that respect. The aligns with, women are having difficulty with orgasms too. But here's the truth. If a woman doesn't feel seen, if she doesn't feel safe or emotionally supported, she's not going to be able to orgasm as easily. If you feel connected with a man, and that's what we're talking about, that connection will allow for better intimacy. It will allow for more orgasms. It will allow for more juices to flow, we'll say. And it makes life better. And that connection, it's not the easiest to find because you do need to find a respectful man. But once you find it, it's a really deep connection. And there's a lot of respectful men out there, ladies. There are a lot. You just have to cycle through them. I would say for every maybe 10 people I dated or 10 people I entertained for a date, I'd find one respectful man. And so it's about 10% of the male population, but you can find them. If you haven't found them yet, just keep dating until you get through like 20 or 30 people and you'll find a couple of respectful men. But it's not just about hormones. A lot of women think, oh, my hormones are changing, so this is just the way it's going to be. It's not true. I do actually support hormone replacement therapy if it is a hormonal issue for you, but a lot of women, it's a connection issue. You're not connected. When you get deeply tied or connected and you feel emotionally safe, your partner and you will have the best dynamics in any relationship. And it will be emotionally safe. It'll be intimately safe. It'll be sexually safe. But connection is not constant sex. Now, if you are connected, you may be having constant sex, but connection is not constant sex. It's not grand gestures. It's not, ooh, I'm going to try harder in bed to make it work and force it through. That's not what connection is. Connection can be something as simple as laying on the couch and snuggling with each other. Connection makes you feel emotionally safe and respected. I will say whenever I get disrespected, I shut down. I don't want to be intimate with anybody because women's mind-body connection, I think, is very strong. Men, they could probably still have sex even if they got disrespected. Women, not so much. It's not such a mechanical, biological thing for us. I don't get turned on if I've been disrespected. Feeling respected is huge with connection. Feeling desired without being pressured to have sex. If somebody tells you you're beautiful, if somebody tells you you're sexy, those things make you feel desired. Those things will give you more connection with someone. And then feeling chosen and it's not just a process you're going through. Or a lot of times I think people, when they get comfortable, they're just going through it and checking a box to say, I got it done. That's not how intimacy should be. Intimacy should be fun. It should bring you joy. You should be so connected to your partner that you can't see being without them. When connection erodes, touch becomes transactional instead of loving. It's like, yep, you don't even hold hands anymore. Or you hold hands just because everyone else is holding hands. It's very transactional. But when connection is there, you want to constantly be touching your partner. You want to constantly brush up against them. You want to be held by them. You want to hold them. That's what connection is really about. Kissing will also become rarer or mechanical. It might be a quick kiss goodbye or you don't kiss at all. When that happens, that means the connection has been failing. It's usually because of a lack of respect or a lack of feeling safe on a woman's part. And that comes from the men we're with, ladies. They tend to be the driver of the relationship. If there's a lot of hostility in the relationship, they just are not feeling respected or safe, this is the problem. Sex becomes something to avoid rather than something to crave when women feel disrespected. They don't want to have sex with you. Here's the thing. If I feel disrespected, I'm not having sex with someone because I'm not performing for them just because they want it. I have to feel safe. I have to feel respected. As we get older, we won't put up with it anymore. So you need to realize that men, make your woman feel safe. Take care of her. Make her feel respected. Make her feel chosen. And when you do, the intimacy will come, the connection, the touching. Touching is part of connection. Kissing is part of connection. Make sure you're doing it. If you're with someone and you want to really be with them, this is what it takes. People, you got to show up. Showing up is half the battle, but you also got to put in effort. I think people get so comfortable, they stop putting in effort, and then they wonder why their relationships are falling apart. You can't just show up at the gym and sit on a bench and not do anything and expect to stay healthy. You can't just show up at work and not even turn on your computer and expect to get a raise or expect to even keep your job. But for some reason, people are showing up in their relationships, not doing anything, and expecting them to be fantastic. They're just not. They're not good for the men and they're not good for the women. You got to show up and then you got to put in effort. Some people don't even show up. Other people show up, but they're brain dead. They act like zombies. They act like they're just going through the motions. If you did that in your health, if you do that with your job, you're never going to get anywhere. In fact, it's probably going to go backwards and it's probably going to fall apart. That's why marriages, that's why relationships fall apart. It comes from both sides. It's not men, it's not women, but it comes from both sides. What will happen is a man will disrespect his wife and then she's not going to be turned on. So then the man gets mad because she doesn't want to have sex with him. And she doesn't want to have sex with him because then he gets even more hostile with her. Now she's really feeling disrespected and not seen and not heard. And it's a vicious cycle. So men, learn to respect your women. Learn to keep them safe. Learn to make them feel desired without pressure to have sex. Then what will happen if you touch them once in a while, if you bump up against them, if you rub up against them, you give them a kiss on the neck, or you just give them a cute little peck here and there, that's going to make a woman feel a lot more desired and she's going to want you a lot more. For most women, desire doesn't actually disappear. It just shuts down. We shut down when safety is gone. I actually saw this happen to me. I was really into a guy and he disrespected me and I shut down. I didn't want to have sex with him. I was really turned on about him before. And as soon as he disrespected me, it was like a light switch went off. And that's what happens. We shut down when we are disrespected and we lose our connection to them. Connection it's tough to get back. It took me a couple days after that disrespect to actually feel connected again. It was just a small, simple thing. Realize, guys, it doesn't take a lot. If you disrespect a woman, it may not be a huge thing to you, but it was a huge thing to her. It may take some time for her to feel like she's respected again. Respect is huge and safety is huge, guys. Just keep an eye on that. And you can get your respect. She can respect you again by just you showing up, you showing that you care for her, you giving her attention, you not disrespecting her again. And because touch is one of the earliest forms of communication we ever learned. So if you can touch, you're telling her, I see you. I respect you. You matter to me. Now, if you're going in and just going grope, 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 that's not respectful. I'm talking about just a slight handhold or a shoulder rub, or maybe you give her a foot massage, or you just give her a little bit of care and concern without expecting anything. That's a form of connection. When touch becomes bad, it's when it's rushed or it's predictable. Like I know one person that every time they gave massages, they just wanted sex. And it wasn't out of care for that person. It was just a way to lead up to foreplay. It was over and over again. Every massage, sex. Every massage, sex. Then it got to the point where it was predictable, and that doesn't feel like connection. That feels like you're being used or transactional. If you want to give your girlfriend or your wife a massage, great. Don't expect anything. If it comes, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. And what's going to happen is your wife will start, or your girlfriend will start driving sex more when she feels respected and safe. also don't sexualize too quickly. I think people, they go on dates. This is for people that are single. They go on dates and they have sex too quickly, and then it dies off because there was never a real connection there in the first place. I think you really need to learn a person and be connected with them before you start having sex. Wait a month, wait 3 months, wait till you get married, for all I care. Wait until you're ready, and then you can have sex. If you have sex too quickly, what tends to happen is you don't have a connection, and then you try to force the connection, and it doesn't work. If you really want to have a nice long relationship, make a connection first, and then when you both are ready, then you can talk about having sex. Don't tie it to expectations, right? Like don't tie touch to, oh, I touched you on the shoulders or I touched your butt, therefore I need to get sex. No. And don't sexualize the touch too soon. Don't go, I held your hand, I'm going to go right in for sex. That's not respectful. Women are like fine wine. It's you got to let it air and breathe a little bit. You can't rush it. The nervous system for a woman responds with guarding whenever we get rushed and pushed into things we're not comfortable with. We don't open up. And when our nervous system shuts down because we don't feel that connection and that loving and that caring and that safety, we shut down. Most women report that they stopped enjoying sex long before they stopped having it, which means we even pushed ourselves into having sex when we didn't want to. And that's sad, which that also destroys a marriage too. Because touch no longer feels safe or attuned, sometimes we go through the motions and it's not fun or pleasurable for us. That's why women are feeling less connected to their partners. Respectful touch is slow, it's responsive. So if you're touching a woman and she responds, and you see that she's enjoying it, you can do more. If it looks like she's not, don't continue. There shouldn't be an agenda if you give her a massage, because then she's feeling just used. She's just feeling used. It should exist without pressure for sex. It really should. When that kind of touch disappears, women's desire will follow. It just disappears. So if you have a relationship and you're struggling, let's start back with touch. Let's start back with gentle kisses. Let's start back about caring about your partner, not just using them for sex. Then maybe what will happen is the woman will be more in tune to you as well. She will desire you more. She will want you more. And honestly, I think that women in our 50s, I think this should be the best time of our sex lives ever because we know what we want. And if you're not getting it, maybe you need to find the right person too. So maybe you're in the wrong dating relationship. Now, if you're married, I'm not suggesting you go get divorced, but maybe go to a sex therapist. There's a lot of sex therapists out there, ladies, that can help you through getting back the touch and the kissing that you need in order to create the desire that you want for your partner, the intimacy that you want, and the connection that needs to be there for you to have intimacy with them. When kissing happens and it starts to go away, it's one of the strongest predictors of long-term intimacy. If you love kissing your partner when you first start dating them, then you're much more likely to have long-term intimacy with that person. Your sex life is much better. It's gonna last better. It's gonna last longer. If it starts to fade because you weren't really into kissing your partner, then it's going to decrease your bond. Because kissing, it builds an emotional bond. It does. It creates oxytocin release in the brain. When you kiss someone, that oxytocin just floods in. And it kind of also creates a little anticipation. And kissing can be playful. You can suck on their lips. You can suck on their tongue. It can be a little playful. But you have to enjoy kissing the person. I will tell you, kissing, for me at least, is so vital to a relationship that I didn't realize how much. It really creates an attraction between you and the other person. I could just kiss some people forever. I mean, I could have a 2 or 3 hour makeout session because kissing to me is so important and it's so wonderful. And then there's other people that I've kissed and they'll make your face all wet, or they'll just not be responsive to what you enjoy. And then you don't want to kiss them. And if a guy's not responsive when they kiss you or doesn't know how to kiss, it's a big turnoff. I think that's why for me, when I go on a first date, I want to know if they kiss well. Because if they're a good kisser, I'll go out with them again. If they're not, I don't want to even go out with them again. So men, take this seriously. Learn how to kiss. Now, I know some women like it differently, and you can let a woman drive the kiss if you want. But I think a man should make the first step to move in for a kiss. But if a woman pulls back when you're kissing her, don't keep going, okay? It's a push-pull when it comes to kissing. But kissing is how our desire starts for a man. When you kiss a woman, if you can really sweep her off her feet with your kiss, she'll want more. If kissing disappears, sex can turn into a mechanical feeling. And I think kissing during sex is amazing because it's a really big connection. And if you can kiss someone while you're having sex and you kiss them before and it's part of foreplay, it's just amazing. And emotional distance will grow if you don't kiss. You'll feel separate. Your connection disappears. Kissing is just as important as touching, but kissing is so deep. And I will say that oxytocin release is a huge thing too. It's the happy hormone. But we feel unseen when our men don't kiss us. We feel like not respected. And men often feel rejected because if they're not getting kissed or receiving kisses, they don't understand why. But if you're not leading the kisses, guys, you're going to feel rejected, and a lot of it has to do with the kissing. Your lack of connection is a lack of kissing. A relationship without kissing often becomes a relationship without curiosity. You don't want to play. Your sense of joy and playfulness kind of goes away. I will say kissing kind of makes you feel like a teenager again. If you can kiss a guy for a few hours and have a makeout session just kissing, let me tell you, it feels like a teenager again. But we need to be respectful and polite. It's the foundation of our connection. Once you align and you're attuned with someone, you will figure out that, wow, this is a true connection. But you also have to listen without being defensive. And I have noticed this in a person I dated, that when I had concerns, he listened and I listened back. There was no defensiveness or blame or gaslighting. It's amazing to have a relationship where it's nice, pure and honest and open and emotionally secure. Now, respect is touching without expectation as well. So if you're respectful, you might touch them, but that doesn't mean you have to have sex. And don't rush kissing. Don't kiss them and say, oh, now we got to go to the bedroom. That's not the way it works. It's not an entitlement. Your desire for them is not an entitlement. It's open. But women's bodies, we protect our bodies, okay? If we don't feel respected, we back away. I will say, and I'm going to get a little explicit here, but women don't get wet if they're not turned on by you. If you're not making them feel safe, they don't get aroused. If you're not making them feel secure, they're not going to get aroused. If a woman can't even sleep next to you, she's not feeling safe. Our orgasms are almost impossible when a woman is feeling unsafe or not respected. It's very difficult for a woman to have an orgasm if she's not feeling safe. Our desire just fades away. Even if we still love you, the desire fades away. Many women were reporting this in midlife because they say, I love my partner, but they don't touch me anymore. They don't kiss me like they used to, or there's dysfunction sexually, and therefore you may still love your husband, but you're just not connected with them like you used to be. It's not just dysfunction, it's a lack of communication, it's a lack of touch, it's a lack of kissing, etc. So you have to reignite that. Now, sometimes the reignition can come from women. If you're in a marriage and you're just not feeling it from your husband, try to reignite it and see if you can bring it back. And sometimes men just get comfortable and they just don't want to put the effort in. That's why I think a lot of divorces happen and a lot of other things is because someone's just not putting in the effort. Hormones matter, but hormones don't exist in isolation because hormones may make you a little dry or a little bit moody or your identity is shifting because you're going into menopause. You might be gaining a little bit of weight. That happens. You may not feel comfortable and you wonder why. That emotional safety and security is important because whenever there's respect and connection, your desire is going to follow. If you see a woman that's all over a man, it's because he respects her and makes her feel safe and connected. If there's a woman that doesn't even hold hands with her man, she's not feeling connected or respected. It's pretty easy, guys. You guys think it's so difficult to unlock a woman, but it's so easy. Show us respect, connect with us, and make us feel desired, and then you'll have what you want in the bedroom. When you don't, our body's going to shut down. Even if our mind says, yes, I need to do this, we'll task manage through it sometimes, but eventually our bodies they don't work. We just do not get emotionally connected with you, and therefore we don't want to sexually connect with you. So let's talk really quickly about rebuilding connection. And it is a little bit of work because rebuilding connection takes time, but you've first got to bring back the non-sexual touch. If you can start touching your woman, rubbing her shoulders, maybe giving her foot massage, just not touching her sexually, not expecting anything after you touch her. That's a level of respect that she will very much appreciate, and that'll increase her desire for you. Kiss her without it leading to sex. So if you're having issues sexually, just give her a kiss every once in a while. Show her that you care. Slow everything down because women are constantly do, get stuff done, running the kids, running the family, and we now sometimes just need everything slowed down and just need a hug or just need things to you to come over and make things better. Because that's what your job is, guys. You're there to support us just like we're there to support you. Make eye contact with me when you're touching me. Look at me. Make me feel whole. Express that you appreciate me verbally. Women a lot of times will tell men that they're thankful for them or that they're glad to have them in their lives or thank you for doing that, honey. When have you told your woman thanks for doing the laundry or thanks for helping around the house or making sure everything looks great or just give her some appreciation? Because the more appreciation you show a woman, the more appreciation you're going to get back. It's a reciprocity thing. And reciprocity in relationships is huge. It can't be one-sided. And if it is, it's going to fall apart eventually. You have to remove that pressure for intimacy off the table in order to start having more intimacy in the bedroom. I know it sounds crazy, but if you're pushing all the time for intimacy, it's going to feel very transactional for a woman. Let the woman drive it a little bit, okay? Remove the pressure off and address anything that's emotionally disconnected. I think the best thing to do is when you have an issue with your partner is to bring it up as soon as possible. You keep talking about it until the issue feels like it's gone away. And if it hasn't gone away, maybe it's a thing you need to go to therapy about. But when you feel respected again and you talk well, your body's going to naturally respond and you're going to be more inclined to be intimate with your partner. I hope this has helped a little bit, but once intimacy has faded, it's not because someone failed, it's because connections need care. You might have a few problems with the hormones, but the reality is that connection's not there. You need to learn to touch them touch without respect doesn't feel safe. Sex without connection doesn't feel safe. And kissing without presence, like if you're just running out the house, it doesn't feel intimate. So show a little bit of intimacy and care for your partner. Give them love so that they can give you desire back because desire without safety doesn't last. It might be a quick fix, but if you want a long-lasting relationship, you need that connection. If you want better intimacy at any age, it's not performative. And here's the thing. In our 50s, ladies, we're ready to go 2 or 3 times a day. A lot of us are. When you get a connection with someone, you can be intimate with someone 2 or 3 times a day. Things don't slow down because we got older. You could have the best sex of your life in your 50s, but you have to feel respected. You have to feel wanted and desired and connected to your partner. That connection and that presence, that's what will drive your sexual relationship because otherwise you're not going to want to have sex. Then you're going to be part of the 91% of women that aren't feeling connected sexually anymore and are not really driving their sexual relationships. I hope for you that you can find a companion, if you're single, that will respect you and help you feel intimate because sex in our 50s should be amazing. Sex in our 60s should be amazing. We are sexual creatures even after we're past the time of procreating and having babies. So remember, sex can be amazing when you're older, but it needs to be with the right person. And that's another reason why these one-night stands, they're just not very fulfilling for people because there's no connection there. It's just a quick transaction. I hope this has helped. I hope this gives you a little bit of information about how to fix your relationship if you're missing connection. We're going to stay on this a little bit more and because connection is so huge in a relationship. I hope that you can find the right person to connect with, the loving relationship to spend the rest of your life with. This is Diva Mia signing off. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment. We love hearing from you. Visit thedivadetails.com to connect. See you next week for more.
Diva Details podcast and website are intended solely for informational and entertainment purposes. The content provided does not constitute professional, medical, financial, or legal advice. We are not licensed medical practitioners, financial advisors, or legal professional. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Any financial topics discussed are based on personal opinions and experience and should not be considered professional advice. The content provided does not constitute legal advice. The Diva Details and its affiliate contributors and guests are not liable for any losses or damages arising from the use of our content. The opinions expressed in the podcast are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of any affiliated organization, sponsors, or partner. All facts discussed in the podcast are researched and accurate to the best of our knowledge at the time of recording. Information may change over time. No guarantees are made regarding the accuracy, completeness, or reliability of any statements or opinions presented. It is the responsibility of the listener to verify any and all facts that may influence their decision. This podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional advice.